You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.
Now, welcome to another segment of Business and Economy. Today, we're going to be talking about the certain economic agenda. Now, it's going to be a sector analysis ranging from the maritime sector to the oil and gas sector and what have you. Of course, we're not leaving completely the Nigerian economy out of it. And I have a guest with me today, the CEO of Morgan for Morgan Limited, Mr. Oladende Ariu. You're welcome to the program.
My pleasure.
Thank you for joining us on the program today.
Now, what is the major challenge we have in this Nigerian economy?
Well, as it is, we have been experiencing low return from sale of crude oil because we and I know that US, that was our biggest customer, they no longer buy from us. They now have, instead, they are competing with us. Okay, so that's left us in the lodge. Our income has dwindled. Unfortunately, what could have been the reserve, the ECA, in the ECA, that's the escrow account, has been squandered. Again, we don't have that. So the treasury, as far as I'm concerned, is empty. That's why so many state governments cannot pay salaries. This too for some government agencies and all of them. So it's a bad situation.
You say it's a bad situation that they can't pay salaries. Of course, there are a lot of indebtedness.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about the 473 billion,
Right.
that we are owing, and they have to pay and for this debt. But who are they incurring this debt for?
Oh my God!
Is it for the next generation?
For you and I, our children and our grandchildren. You heard the Minister of Finance saying that they had to borrow money to run the government in the first quarter of the year, which for all I care doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
Are we saying that they didn't know these things are going to come that way? Are there no people who project and strategize and plan? I mean, don't they plan ahead to know, okay, where are we going to be against all the elements that will affect our income? So the incoming government now, they have a lot of problems on their hands. If I was to tell you, no matter what little ideas they may have, where would they get the fund to do all of those things? And that's why I said we need to look back, okay, at what was or what is to not generate what should be.
Okay. Let's look at some of the sectors that we have. Maybe we should start from the oil and gas or the energy sector. Now, where are we currently, and going forward, how do you think we can begin to salvage some of the mess you said we found ourselves in?
Now, if we say, let's take the power sector, for instance. This place runs on generator, true or false? Now, imagine the cost of keeping a station running 24/7/365 on generator. It takes away a huge sum of your capital. And I must let you know that if you are not careful, you will not break even. And what happens? This place must not go down. If it goes down, you are out of job. I mean, so that will give you a picture of how bad it has gone. I would have expected that by now, it doesn't take a lifetime to establish, to acquire new refineries. Let's agree the ones we have are old and dilapidated. In any case, they could have been made to work, but they were giving the jobs to the boys, not the real professionals who could really do it. Okay, so it was just like giving them free money. Otherwise, all the so-called turnaround that they've been doing on the refineries, where have they landed us? Nowhere. That's the problem point. Now, I know that there are modular refineries that in 90 days can be brought in and put together, and then they will start working. They don't cost a fortune. How come nobody's thinking in that regard? It's possible also to have them in regions. Since we already have our crude oil piped, these are the issues. We've got to look back, okay, and say no more selling of crude oil. Let's refine everything. we take the one we want to use locally, and then we sell refined products. That way, the oil and gas industry definitely will do better as far as that is concerned. On the issue of power, it's still a shame that after squandering trillions of naira, we are still where we are, unbundling, selling off, selling this here and there, the disco and whatever you may call them, they have failed us. It's even worse now than it was before they came onto the scene.
Well, some people are saying concerning this electricity you're talking about, that, you know, could it be because there's some, you know, the powers that lie, you know, because maybe I want to sell my generator, therefore it should be no light. And corruption is,
I remember,
you know,
this issue of corruption is coming up again. And that's why I said government shouldn't make it a campaign issue. Nobody can fight corruption. All of us collectively, in our different closets, are responsible for the mess which Nigeria is. I'm not a government contractor. I've never worked in any government before. But I can tell you that if we decide at our different points of operation to say, I will do the right thing, before you know, as they said, you must be the change that you want. Right? When Bola Ige was made the minister, I don't know, I had total confidence in him, I believed him, and I was looking forward to the problems being tackled, knowing that he was an incorruptible personality. But what happened? They ran rings around him, he was removed and put, you know, in another ministry. And since then, we've been going round and round, we've been making movement without any motion. And you can now see that more companies now sell generators in Nigeria. So to that extent, they will do everything to frustrate whatever reform you may bring in to sustain their industry. But with a determined government, if it means shutting down Nigeria for whatever length of time that we take and say we must have power, we must generate enough power, well, come on, we'll move forward. Enough money has been thrown. It's like the more they throw into it, the more darkness they generate. I mean, they generated more megawatts of darkness than light. So it's a big problem.
Okay,
they should do something whereby they must run the so-called cabal. They must run them out of town and out of business for Nigerians to have a new day.
Maybe we should get a little bit more practical and probably state it, you know, in clear terms as an economist, or or let's say, yes, you're the CEO of Morgan Limited, right. and then you're into business.
Definitely.
Now, the state of economy that we are at the moment, just like you said, how will you, going forward, how will you practically lay down some agenda for the incoming government?
Thank you very much. You know, I'm a card-carrying member of APC. I said it on another platform earlier in the day. When the government, when APC won, I had to now sit down and say, how am I going to add value to this government? Because I was a party to getting them into power. So I embarked on the research. Looking at what are not being done properly, that we can now begin to do well, that we can say, oh, things will get better. Number one, the cost of governance in Nigeria is on the very expensive and very high side. One, whatever formula they may have been using in arriving at security vote for governors, president or whoever, they should bring it down. Okay? They should reduce it. Number two, remuneration and expenses of senators, House of members, and all the House of Assembly should be brought down. They are taking a large chunk of money that should have gone into capital expenditure. You know, they are squandering it. Number three, the funding of pilgrimages, either for Muslims, Christians, or pagans, should stop. I don't care what faith you carry. If you must go to the moon to worship your God or do whatever, fund it. Okay? Government shouldn't be funding the people's excesses. Some people have gone to Hajj, Jerusalem, more than 15 times. Some even go annually at the expense of the government. They go, take their wives, their girlfriends. This is utter wastage. Okay? Now, the fleet of aircrafts that we have today in the presidential whatever should be sold off. I have been on the same flight with Cameroon before from London to Tokyo. Nothing happened. Okay, so they should be sold off, or maybe they be used to start another airline, because we don't have our own national airline. And of course, the battery of political appointees that you have, from SSAs to SAs to PA, and that assistant, these are people who don't have, I mean, nothing doers, who had no value. Hey, they should let them go so they can free money for other things. Of course, you have heard it that a committee was set up to harmonize or recommend how to harmonize ministries and the agencies. That committee did their work, submitted their report. Another committee was set up to look at that report. Yet today, nothing has been done. So many agencies, departments who are not doing anything or not adding any value, and of course they are working at cross purposes. So that should be immediately done to free the money being squandered on them. And of course, we must abolish. Now, it was never established, but somehow it was brought upon us. The wasteful office of the first lady, either of the president or of the governor, they should go. Unfortunately, there is no budget for them. But somehow, using ways and means, these offices get funded. Whatever program they may have, let them present to the ministries who can handle them.
Okay, we'll take it after just before you continue. We're going to go.
All of this you're saying is just the leadership.
Well, for all I care, yes, it's about leadership, because it's not within my purview or your purview to determine all of these things.
So you talk about cost of governance, reducing the cost of governance, and you talk about reducing how much a lawmaker in the National Assembly, either in the upper chamber or the lower chamber, takes up.
Even the assembly.
Okay, but do you have? I'm just a little bit curious. Do you have a figure of how much a single lawmaker takes on?
Unfortunately, the figures we have are based on confirmed reports. But when you look at the amount of money that goes in there as a ratio of the total national budget, it's on the heavy side. But you see, you don't have the breakdown again, which makes it very insane. These people, we voted for them. They are our employees. Oh, I will not ask your CEO here. I won't be able to tell me how much you earn. But these people are working for us. We don't know how much they earn.
Are you saying the issue of transparency and accountability is in question here? Is that what you're saying?
Precisely. Remember that each time these things come up and Nigerians query them, they have these ways of bamboozling us and giving us cock and bull stories, pushing it to the revenue fiscal and clinical, this one that body. And for all I care, RF-MAG was established by government of Nigeria. They didn't come from space. They didn't drop from Atlantis. So the government should now sit them down and tell them, we don't have this kind of money again.
Maybe we should talk a little bit about transparency and accountability in government more. How do you want to see transparency and accountability inculcates or to be a driver of the incoming administration?
Some will tell you they should bring in legislations or whatever. We have enough legislations, enough laws to deal with that. EFCC, ICPC, they came up still in that same sense to make sure people do the right things the right way. There's transparency and the accountability. But unfortunately, those in the system, particularly the civil servants, they have perfected their games. When the politician comes in as minister or whatever, they sit him down. Before you know, the man joins the bandwagon, and then together they run rings around us. You don't see the figures. When they say, okay, we now have information bill, whereby if you want information, you can get it. So many people made efforts to get what people earn. Still, they can't get it. So the era of impunity ensured that. So we must clearly move away from impunity, which if we do, I can assure you, there will be more transparency in all of these things. And people will know that if they mess up, they may end up being tried, they may end up in jail and paying for their misdemeanor. And then, of course, they will behave themselves.
Do you see technocrats being carried along, or the expertise carried along with this incoming administration?
Definitely, there are certain levels of competencies required to manage certain levels of administration or offer certain services. I'm not going to see the government not bringing in some, even though some that are brought in by the president and outgoing government, they mess us up. But where we need them, we should bring them in. Unfortunately, when these ones came in, and people are complaining that, look, okay, like I have my issue with the finance minister. Each time he brings figures and statistics, and I ask myself, managing a national economy is not about figures and statistics. It's about the people. When you do a budget, it should percolate. Percolate should flow down to the people. Are they getting any better? Are they living any better? More people have gone hungry. They are gone hungrier now today than they were 5-6 years ago. As a matter of fact, today most families cannot feed. Forget square or round meal. They don't have food to eat on their tables. And you are telling me Nigeria is the largest economy in Africa. Which economy, for God's sake?
How can we turn around this whole thing?
I started with saving money. Okay? Now, if you allow me to complete what I have on my list.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll tell you the severance pay and mobilization pay for elected people and newly appointed employees and political employees should be removed. The max you can do as a political employee or appointee is 8 years, and then you're now going away with basket of billions of naira, whereas people have worked for 35 years. For them to collect their peanuts becomes an issue. They die on queues and everywhere.
But just hold on a little bit. You said something about the fiscalities of the National Assembly.
Right.
The severance.
No, this one's about severance.
And the
severance pay that they pay political appointees and the elected people. They also pay mobilization to incoming appointees and elected people. It runs into billions of naira.
But even this incoming administration, do you think all the past and the present coming into this APC will not have fizzle into this new government and have their way?
That's why you and I have got to keep making the right noises. This is my second TV appearance today. I have not been to my office. It's far more important for me that the economy runs, because if it doesn't work, whatever efforts I may put in at my individual level will come to naught. Okay? It is for us to be more vigilant. We voted for people to manage and make our lives better, not to turn us into paupers. Okay? So we must continue to make the right noises. None of us can come on TV or radio to talk or write in papers, but whoever can should please not sit down. It's not a time for us to go and sleep, but a time for us to be vigilant and let them know that not anymore can you bamboozle us with figures or whatever. Our lives must be better. And in any case, we all have seen hungry jacks that became senators, commissioners, or whatever, and became bigger boys overnight. That won't happen again. It should not happen.
Yeah, let's also talk a little bit about policy in this outgoing administration. We've seen policies like You Win. We've seen policies like Shopee. We've seen. Do you see a major policy change in the coming administration, or do you foresee the incoming administration building on some of the policies, and how strong do you think they can sustain this?
One of the things that has been our problem here is policy continuity, and the reason why usually an incoming government will oftentimes or most times dispense with a subsisting policy is because they will have been able to see so many holes in them which will make them no longer useful. Take Shopee, for example. All the promises that were made before Shopee came into being, how many of them were fulfilled? You and I must have been seeing those people that were at the toll gate that were being groomed in black shirts and all of that for many, many months. Now, they were made to pay thousands of naira before they could be taken through all those things with a promise of jobs. Suddenly, they were turned out onto the street. Money, time, resources squandered, gone, and lost. Nobody is talking. Will you now say this one should continue with Shopee? Remember, Dr. Kolade was made the chairman of Shopee at the beginning. But when the gentleman could not align himself with the rot in the system, he left. The You Win thing that you said, when you look at global economic management, such selective solutions, they don't work. They're not durable, they're not enduring, and they're not universal. How many people benefited from You Win? We're talking about 170 million people, out of which more than half are idle and jobless. Trained people. and you are now doing pockets of political engineering. It doesn't work.
So how will you respond to the recent statistic from the National Bureau of Statistics that the unemployment rate reduced from 23% in 2011 to 6.4 in 2014? How would you respond
if
to
there's
that?
anybody that should be scrapped and a new one brought alive, that's the office you have just mentioned.
Why is that?
Good. I don't have to ask you. You must have cousins, your brothers or sisters who are free from university in the last 2 or 3 years. They've gone through NYSC and they are there jobless. You must have had people, friends or whatever, who lost their jobs in the last 3 or 4 years. As we are seated here, I have confirmation of about 4 FMCG companies that are retrenching people in their thousands, and you are saying you are reducing unemployment. Which unemployment? More Nigerians now carry drugs abroad, forgetting that they are facing danger. Why? Because back home they are hungry because they have no jobs, they have nothing to do. Okay? And let me tell you, if I'm very busy in my office, I will have time to come and sit here and be talking grammar. So the way it's affecting everybody, people are downsizing. How many companies are expanding? Even the so-called telecom companies, the banks, they are retrenching. What they do, some of them at times they will say they are top heavy. They send away some people and now going to be looking for contract staff to reduce their overheads. Is that what you call? Is that how to reduce unemployment?
And what about the maritime sector? Because in that place, there's a lot of
the maritime sector is another hell entirely. It will take another program entirely if we want to review that. They did a lot of reforms. They farmed out the ports to concessionaires to run and manage, but the rot in this system still remains. The only major difference we have seen there is that getting your things cleared now, cargo cleared now, takes a far fewer time. But of course, there's some inherent rot still in the sector, and like we said earlier on, a lot of transparency need to be brought to bear on the operations before the country can maximally benefit from their being.
Let me hold you a little bit. I think we need to just take a break now. We'll be back with more discussion on the program after the break. Join us again.
Watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. And Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then news. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back to Business and Economy. Of course, we're still talking about setting economic agenda, of course, in this new dispensation, of course, sector analysis as well. And still on my guest, Mr. Oladende Ario. And I want to ask you, you've been in the business environment for a very long time. And as a businessman...
For a fairly long time.
For a very long time.
When you say very long, how old am I?
Okay, and how do you see, or what do you expect of this economic team in this present administration?
It's been a disaster. If it has worked out well, we will not be where we are. For me, the only benchmark, the only parameter with which any economy should be measured is how much money people have in their pocket, their spending capacity. How much do they have to spend? Okay, I mean, how do they get food on their table we are in a situation where there's a particular family somewhere in Osun, another one in Ekiti, that I happen to know. They called this morning asking me to send them money. Why? The father, the mother, they work in the civil service. Their 3 graduate children are in the same civil service and they've not been paid. Not for 1 month, not for 2, not for 3, some for over 6 months. Now, what are we talking about economics then? When people are working, going to work is a lot of stress because they now trek. They now trek, not by choice now, but they must still go to work. That is servitude.
How would you rate this economic agenda?
So that's why I said whatever agenda, whatever plan that they said they put up has collapsed. It has failed. It has not given us any lift. It has not taken us to our El Dorado. We are still back in the waters. So much so that we are when the government came into power, Nigeria was not owing. Okay, today we are heavily indebted. I thought they borrowed money to do things that will generate wealth, okay, that will generate employment, all of that. But where are those things? We can't see them.
Okay,
how would you rate them?
They have failed. That's what I mean.
Okay, let's look at this in terms of setting up or economic team for the incoming administration,
right,
or those that you want to see in the cabinet. So what do you think, or who do you expect to see in the cabinet? Do you expect this same set of people that you have described as who said they failed in the coming administration?
I didn't say they failed. It's the truth.
Okay.
Now, if I'm asked to make my choices, I will be there, you will be there, she will be there, okay? But it doesn't work that way. This is politics. Party consideration is going to come up, okay? And people are already lobbying for one post or the other, even where they know that they lack the competencies. And then the evil of zoning is also going to creep in on us. And before you know, I mean, imagine a senator that cannot speak a word of English language, yet he was there for 8 good years. So this government must move away from that malady. In picking anybody for any position, they should know where they are coming from. What is their background? How suitable are they? What have they done before? You must look at their background. I mean, what they have done with their lives. It doesn't matter if they are not wealthy or not rich or whatever, but you must have seen that they've added value to whatever.
Will it be surprising to you if you see some of the people that are in the outgoing government now in the coming administration?
We will carry placards if that happens, particularly those that you could pinpointedly identify as having failed grossly.
Well, you know it is likely to happen.
It may happen. It may happen.
It will happen.
Unfortunately, I don't have any power.
Well, how do you know it will happen?
Okay,
Yeah,
let's take a look
so-
at this. So most of the people who defected from PDP, they are in the APC. Have they not found their way in? And I want to believe that APC have one of the most intelligent and intellectual people there. And yet,
let me tell you, even
they accommodated this.
they had people of high intellect, but they allowed a lot of things to come to play, and then those who should be seen as working were pushed off, and politics overran everything. But I would rather advise that there are other good hands around, globally and locally. They should look for them and let's use them. Let's stop the idea of recycling the same or old of the same. Okay? Then they were talking of change. So things must change.
Okay, let's just before we go now, I think we need to round up here quickly, but just before we go, your parting short for the incoming administration in terms of agenda for economy, from maritime, from security. You said you've had experience in, you have worked, or of course, you
done things in
security and all of that. So
right.
in all of the sectors of the economy, so what do you expect to see? What are your suggestions?
But the most critical element that I will say, or that's a common trend among them.
Or maybe I should put the question like this: the priority now in terms of tackling some challenges that is facing the nation in terms of priority.
Yeah, I'll just zero down those things to 3: power, energy, and security. Power, energy and security.
All right.
If we have it right on those platforms, imagine if you want to open a barbering salon now, the first thing you will buy is a generator, not a clipper, which naturally should be, I mean, it's your tool of trade. That shows you how insane things have gone. Mm-hmm. Now, with power, we flog that, we can spend the entire year. So that has been taken care of. And of course, security too is an issue. Kidnapping, terrorism, armed robbery, all of that, they must be taken care of. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that with the way things have been organized now, we should begin to think of a new day for Nigeria and Nigerians, and we'll get there. But lastly, the cost of doing contracts in Nigeria should be looked into. The Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is a 107-kilometer road, and they are spending 176 billion naira, not in fresh construction now, but to upgrade that road. So each kilometer of that road costs more than 1 billion naira. The Italian lira is the weakest global currency. You will not, I don't think in a same environment you would need up to 1 billion rupee to construct a kilometer road. I mean, it bears common sense. It doesn't add up.
Well, of course, this is where we round it off now. Thank you very much for coming. Ray Olade Diario is the CEO of Morgan Limited. Thank you for finding time to join us on the program today.
Thank you, sir.
Just before we go, a quick run-up of what went down on the program today, talking about some economic news now. Nigeria's economy to hit $1 trillion by 2025. That's according to Renaissance Capital and a research firm there. Nigeria's investment inflows dropped by $1.2 billion on election concerns as well.
Nigeria spends $15 billion on fuel import yearly, and that's by the Lagos Chambers and Commerce industry.
And finally now, real estate value to hit $13.65 billion in 2016. That's according to PricewaterhouseCoopers. This is where we'll round up now. Many thanks for watching. I am Frank Omalapeh.
And I am Sabena Uzouku.
See you again.